I
to
just
you
approved
to
it.
record. Oh,
Yep, I
and
think you should be able to do it now.
it looks like it is, so we are all set.
Okay, great. Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm going to start because your time is important to us, and I like to make sure that people who come on time are here for a reason and they want to see the workshop, and there's no reason to wait. We have a wonderful guest today who has been presenting for our Small Business Development Center for many years, and she's really awesome. Before we get to her, I just want to welcome you. I am the regional director here at the Long Island Small Business Development Center, hosted by Stony Brook University. We offer no cost counseling services to the small businesses that are in Suffolk and some in Nassau County. We also have another office in Farmingdale that covers mostly Nassau County. But in any event, we're here to help you. Our services are free of charge. We offer custom counseling for your goals and your business. So if you're not a client already, we invite you to use the link that I put in the chat to become a client. Again, it doesn't cost you anything, and you'll be set up with a business advisor, and they will help you collaborate and strategize and develop business plans and financial projections. If you're going for money, they can help you with that as well. So we definitely want everyone to know that help is there and you don't need to go this alone. We're big advocates for the small business community. What we do is try to find workshops that can help people with specific needs associated with a business. And today is a big one because everybody pays pretty much by credit or debit cards. Years ago, I saw a futurist who said we're becoming a cashless society. And I think that's pretty true. A lot of people don't carry cash anymore, and everything is done by card. So it's really important to know what you're doing. If you're a business owner, you know you're going to have to collect payments that way. So I'm very, very pleased to introduce to you Christine Curzio, who has a business called Simply Payments. She is also a member of our monthly Business Solutions Roundtable that we hold in person here at Stony Brook. So if you're one of our clients, you're welcome to join us to meet with other business owners, and we talk about a variety of topics. Um, so look for that. If you found us for this, you could find us for the roundtable as well if you're a client. So I don't want to any further delay. I'm going to toss it over to Christine. Christine, thank you very much for donating your time today to help these small business owners, and take it away. Thank you.
Okay, hello everybody. Good morning. I'm Christine Curzio and I own Simply Payments. It's a merchant processing company. And just to be clear, I do offer my services to business owners who have a business that sells either products or services and needs to take payments, various payments, either online, in person, e-commerce. So that's what I do. That's what my business is credit card processing for businesses. Now, who are we? We have been in the business for over 20 years. I have my own business now for about 8 years. And we offer all types of credit card processing, even ACH transfers. It's POS systems, which are also known as point of sale systems. We do e-commerce, virtual terminal processing. Virtual terminal means you log into a website anywhere you have an internet connection and you can process payments. There's cash discounting capabilities. There are various pricing methods. We also offer gift cards and we do cash advances. So my goal at Simply Payments is to help the business owner understand more about credit card processing, some tips and tricks, and what you should be paying for, and how to notice the bogus fees on your account. Everyone receives a monthly statement, and I'd be happy to take a look at your monthly statement if you want me to see if you're paying the right price and if there's any fees on there that we can adjust for you. So I'd like everybody to understand what the processing fees are. These usually are most of the time these fees are located on your monthly business statement, your merchant statement that you receive every month. And a lot of people call me and say, what are these assessment fees? What are these interchange? What are these fees? So the first thing to know about merchant processing is that we charge something called an interchange fee. The first question I get from everyone is, what are the fees? It's very difficult just to shout out what the fees are to a business because there's so many factors involved. You know, the main factor is what type of business are you? There's a different processing fee for a skydiving company than there would be for maybe a Barnes and Noble bookstore. It all depends on the fraud and it depends on the risk. So if you have a risky business, your e-commerce, you take cards over the phone or the internet, those rates will be a little bit higher. If you have the card in your hand and you present it to the retailer, like you go into a pizzeria or a bookstore, those rates are generally a little bit lower and you'll get the lowest rate based on that business type. So before I can even give a price, I just need to know a little bit about your business, how often you process, what type it is, what the risk is involved. And I usually have a couple of questions I ask a business owner when I first meet them, when they ask me for pricing. So interchange fees are usually set by the card networks. The card networks are called, it's usually the Visa network, but it includes Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. And those rates can go anywhere from 1.9 to 3.5%. And then there's the assessment fee. That's very, very minimal, but it's usually on your statement. And then there's a processor markup. A processor is known, I am a sales agent for the processor. So you'd have to work with someone like me in order for me to book your business with the processor. And sometimes they do charge a little extra fee. But what you want to do is talk to them and ask them what their fees are. And this way you'll be able to shop around and get some better rates. So some of the common pricing models out there for businesses are flat rate pricing, interchange plus, tiered pricing, subscription membership. You don't really need to know some of these, but when your salesperson is throwing these terms at you, you can definitely understand what they mean. So flat rate pricing is a very simple, common pricing, and it's just one price, and it includes everything. So your statement is very clean and neat. It just shows one rate for businesses, and it usually doesn't show any other pricing or assessment fees. Everything is rolled into one price. Then there's the interchange plus model. You'll see what your rates are, what the assessment is, what the markup is. If you're more familiar and you're more common with merchant processing, you may want to go with interchange plus. Now, there are so many different interchange rates out there, and we're going to go into that a little bit later on. But just so you know, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see my website, and you can download this PDF presentation. It's on the About page on my website, and you can have this for future reference. So then there's also tiered pricing, which means it's 3 tiers. It's the qualified rate, a mid-qualified rate, and a non-qualified tier. Now, what that means is that if somebody comes to you with a credit card and they swipe it, that's an easy qualified rate, and those are the lowest rates that you can get. If somebody comes to you with that same credit card and you're swiping it and it's not working, they have to key in that information. So that would show up as either a mid or a non-qualified because you have the card in your hand, but it's not working. So you have to key in the number. So there's going to be a little bit of an extra rate on top of that because you're keying in the card, you're not swiping it. Now, one of the things a business owner should do, and you as a consumer as well, when the business owner asks for your credit card and it doesn't work or it's not swiping correctly, they should ask you for another card so that they don't have to key in or type in that number into their system, because that adds more money to their pricing because you're not swiping it. You're not getting the lowest rate. So if they ask you for another card, that's the reason why. They don't want to pay those higher fees. Now, there's also those companies out there like Square. I think maybe even Clover offers a subscription or a membership fee, and Stripe as well. I'm not really a fan of Stripe. They have been known to cancel merchants at a moment's notice and give you 30 days to find another processor. So that's why I'm not too fond of them. But the subscription model is where you pay one price and you get maybe free paper if you need it. Your price is going to be one monthly fee. And sometimes that pays off for those merchants that do process a lot of transactions. Um, Tiered pricing is a little bit higher. So if you can stay away from that, flat rate pricing is the best. It's easy and simple. And let's face it, as a business owner, we have a million things going on in our lives. Not only do we need to worry about our payments, which is very important, getting paid for what we're selling, our products or services, but we have accounting, we have payroll, we have inventory. So we don't really have time to focus on some of these interchange and merchant processing features. And that's where I come in. If you need help looking at a statement, if you want some advice, email me. My email is at the bottom. You can send me a sample statement, black out your, any information you don't want me to see. But the statement is very important to people like me because it shows me not only how much volume you're doing every month, but it also shows me the card types that you take. So if you take plain vanilla cards or business cards, rewards cards, those generate a higher interchange rate because someone has to pay the customer for their rewards. And it's not going to be American Express or Visa or Bank of America. It's going to be the business owner. So they charge the business owner more money in interchange fees for rewards cards. And World MasterCard is a very high paying card. And yes, American Express is another high paying card. So just be aware of those. Now, there are many ways that you can reduce your processing costs. First, if you're talking to a person, you want to negotiate your rates. Talk to them about those rates. You always need to settle your transactions every day. You don't physically have to do this. It's automated and it's done for you. Usually the transactions are settled about 7, 8, 9 p.m. at night. And that allows you to get your funds the next day. It's called next day funding. So if you can settle or batch out your funds every day by 8 p.m., you'll get your money in your bank account the very next day with no fees about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. And again, this is automated, so you don't have to worry about that. Address verification, AVS, this means that when you are inputting a credit card, the person will ask you what your address is or your zip code, and it confirms that you are the owner of that card. Some people drop their card in the parking lot and someone else might pick it up. That's why some of these interchange rates for e-commerce are a little bit higher because the card is not present. So that's a big key factor on what you're processing. A cash discount program, that's a program that it passes the processing fees to the customers. You'll see a lot of that now, and they have to disclose this at their place of business. Usually it's 3 to 3.5%. And I know we get upset about this. You're going out for a pizzeria or a restaurant and they want to charge you 3.5% if you use a card. Otherwise, you don't pay if you use cash. Now, one of the interesting things about cash or credit cards is your demographic. That's one thing you want to check out. If you sell to people that are 30 and below, none of them have cash. They don't use cash. They have their credit cards in their iPhone or Android device, and they just show their device to the person or tap it onto the POS, point of sale system. If you're usually over 35 or so, a lot of the older generation people like cash and they don't want to use credit cards. So you have to look at your demographic. That will definitely help you. So you'll definitely see this cash discount, which is passing the fees on to the customer. As a customer, it kind of pisses us off a little bit, but as a business owner, we understand that these fees, the banks charge so much money every month for processing fees. Now, one of the things is these banks have increases and changes to the interchange rates. The Visa interchange at Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and Discover twice a year have increases in processing fees in April. So you'll see it on your May statement, and October. So you'll see it in your November statement. So just remember that twice a year, they make some changes and increases. Very rarely do they decrease fees, but there are these twice a year increases in fees. So just be aware of that and check your statements all the time. And debit cards, this is great. You may know that debit cards are associated with your checking account. They're not credit. They don't give you any credit whatsoever. So you should encourage people using debit cards. Debit card transactions are less than 1%. In some instances, I think Visa may charge 25 cents to use a debit card. Whereas if you're looking at charging someone 3% on a credit card, that's a lot. So some people can't use their debit cards because debit cards are directly linked to money in their checking account. So if they don't have any money in their checking account, they're going to use a credit card. If they do have the cash and they don't want to use cash, they want to use their debit card, it really helps the business owner. And those monthly statements, you have to definitely review your monthly statements. Like I said, twice a year, they increase rates and fees, and sometimes they creep up on you. So you just have to keep looking at those statements every month. Now, there's a lot of fraud going on in this industry, as you know, especially this time of the year. Those fraudsters are thinking of new ways before you and I wake up at night. I mean, they are working, usually midnight till, 5 a.m. trying to figure out how to get your money and calling you and telling you that you're the electric company and you owe money. Here's the link. Hurry up, pay it now. It's always urgent. So just be careful of fraud. One of the ways that some people take advantage of fraud situations with credit cards are chargebacks. So as a business owner, chargebacks are not good for us. And as a consumer, we don't usually call them a chargeback, but we call them, getting our money back. So what happens is if you purchase, let's just say you're purchasing a $200 pocketbook or something, and you get it home and you don't like it, or you said, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have spent that $200 on that bag. You could call the phone number on the back of your credit card and tell them that you're not happy with that purchase and you want your money back, and that is considered a chargeback. So what happens? The credit card company or the bank, either Bank of America or Visa or Chase, they will immediately credit you that amount of money, but they pull it out of the bank account of the merchant, of the business owner. So we don't advertise this a lot, but we just tell all business owners to make sure you always have a receipt. And whenever possible, if you can, ask someone to sign off on that receipt, get their signature. Because if you're hit with any chargebacks as a business owner, you have to present certain information, the dates, the receipts, the confirmations, proof that the person took that product or service. Sometimes video cameras are used and they're available. If you don't feel comfortable with a person that wants to purchase something from you, maybe going into a liquor store, buying a $200 bottle of champagne, you can always, as a business owner, you can ask that customer for additional ID. Ask them for their driver's license and take a picture of it. Ask them for another credit card and take a picture of that. You're the business owner. And if you give a $200 bottle of champagne to someone and they walk out your store, that champagne is gone. And then the next day or even that night, they can call their credit card company and tell them that they weren't happy with that purchase, and they'll be reimbursed immediately for that amount. Who loses? The business owner. So you want to make sure that you always have all your receipts and your detailed records of all your transactions, whether you're an in-store or e-commerce or online. You always want to have all of your receipts. And these are what chargebacks are. They are not good for the business. If if you get so many chargebacks, let's say, for instance, it exceeds 1%, you may be canceled by Visa and you're put on a watch list and you're not allowed to take credit cards anymore. So just be wary of your customers. And again, if you're not comfortable with what they look like or who they are or what they say, ask them for additional information. Remember that you're the business owner. This is your inventory, it's your money. So also for fraud prevention strategies, what you want to do, and some of these items, the processor will handle for you. You don't have to do anything. You can confirm with them. You want to add a clear billing descriptors. So when you get your credit card statement in the mail, doesn't it show you the name of the business? By law, the name of the business and their phone number have to be listed on your credit card statement so that you can actually recognize who they are and what their phone number is. And that's standard when you fill out your merchant processing agreement. Either you'll fill that out or your processor or me would fill that out for you. I would gather some documents from you and fill out the application, and that's on the application. You also want to make sure in your store or in your business or online, you want to display your policies, your refund, your return, your cash back, your any policy that you have. You want to make sure that it's promptly displayed right in front of where the customer is. And you always want to have customer service. You want to answer your questions immediately, resolve these disputes before they become a chargeback. If someone really isn't happy with the product, you don't want them to call in a chargeback. You wanted them to call you, and you would gladly refund them if they bring the merchandise back. That's what you want to convey to your customers, that you work with them. You don't always want to mention to everyone that you'll refund them, because you don't want everybody to come in and buy something and then have to refund them all the time. But you just want to make it known that you are very responsive. And as I mentioned earlier, you want to keep detailed documentation and respond very quickly to everyone. So these are also some things that you need to do. EMV chip readers, these are automatically built into your point of sale system or your e-commerce system. You don't have to do anything with this. Most of them are. If you go to an establishment and they're very old and they have a very old terminal, you may get a message that says this is not compliant or it's not EMV. A chip reader, there's over 200 pieces of information on the back of the credit card on that mag stripe, it's called. It gives all the demographic information about you. So it's very important that you do go to an establishment that has an EMV chip reader so they can read all that information from your credit card. And CVV verification, that's the security code on the card. Most of online and e-commerce companies ask you for the CVV code because, like I had mentioned earlier, if you're in a parking lot, you drop your credit card, you know, someone will have your card and they'll have the CVV code and they'll have that information. But if you're online and you're typing in into a computer your card number and you walk away for some reason, the person will not have the CVV number. And if the establishment is asking for the CVV verification and you don't have it, that transaction will not go through. So that's a good thing. So you always want to enable CVV. And then 3D Secure, that's added for extra online security, and that's something the processor does automatically. And a velocity check, this is at the processor, but you have to ask for that. So for instance, you can set, what this looks a little bit more difficult than it is. So for instance, if you're an e-commerce site, you can say US only transactions. And if any one of your products in your store doesn't sell for more than $200, you can put a limit on that transaction amount. You can say maximum $100 on any and all transactions, only processed in the state of Tennessee or in the country of the US, or these 3 countries only. So you can definitely set limits on your transactions, but you have to ask the processor for that, and you can give them that information, and this is free. All these items that we're talking about fraud prevention are free. And then there's also a scoring mechanism that will be presented to you from the processor as well. Now, I know many of you heard of PCI compliance. There's 12 requirements. If you Google PCI compliance, it'll come up with the payment card industry data security standards and all 12 requirements and 4 levels. You don't have to do anything about this. Your processor will show you and teach you about PCI compliance. And then there are also levels. There's 4 different levels. Level 1 is the highest, where you do 20 million transactions or more per month. And level 4 is the smallest. But this is important to know. One of the things about PCI compliance is you never want to store the information. So you're a pizzeria or a restaurant, and somebody is calling in an order, and you take that card number over the phone. What do most places do? They have a piece of paper and a pen, and they write down the card number, and then they key it into their system later. So you want to make sure that you shred that paper. You don't want to keep any card information anywhere in your store or your place of business or at home, because someone can take it, and it's dangerous. So that's part of what PCI compliance is about. So how do you choose the best processor? You want to talk to them about what the rate is. What's the total rate, meaning interchange and assessment and other fees, monthly statement. Some processors charge a PCI compliance fee. Some processors charge a termination fee. Some processors charge all different types of fees. And that's why it's always good for you to take a look at your statements every single month, see what's on there. Now, what is the contract? Visa and MasterCard, American Express and Discover need a contract to make sure that you're going to abide by the rules and regulations. It's not to hold you, well, some of them do, but it's not really to hold you to a multi-year contract. But they want to make sure that you understand that you're not going to commit fraud, and they want you to sign at least a 1-year contract. One of the important things is an early termination fee, and I'll show you where it is on a statement in a few slides later. Early termination fees range from anywhere from $250 to almost $600. So for instance, if you decide to go with a company and 6 months later you don't like them, or they're not nice, or they're charging you too much, and you want to get out of that contract or out of that agreement with that processor, they may charge you a termination fee. And a lot of the times it's called ETF, and it's early termination fee, and it can cost you a lot of money. And I'll show you on the next slide where it's buried in the contract. And monthly minimums. Some processors charge you. If you say, oh, I do $50,000 a month, I do $100,000 a month, I do $10,000 a month, they may hold you to that. If you don't do $10,000 of sales per month, they may charge you extra money. It's not common, but ask the question. And then what equipment is involved? Do you need a terminal? Can you use your smartphone? Can you go online? And how much is that equipment? And what is the cost of it? Who owns it? Is it yours? Is it theirs? So also you want to ask them what's included in the support. The salesperson, keep in mind, and we all know this, salespeople can sell you anything. They are so glamorous, and they can offer you everything. But that's the easy part, is sales. What happens when you have a problem? When you have, someone that didn't put the tip in at the restaurant, and they forgot, and they say, oh my gosh, I have to put the tip in. It's too late. The customer left. I don't have the card number. You want to be able to have a phone number that you can call your processor 24/7 and ask them how to do some of these things. If you made a mistake, or you any other issues, or it's not processing, your system went down, what is your support? Like I said, anybody can sell you anything, but you want to get that support number. And how fast do you get your money? Because that's important. You're selling and you want your money in your bank account. A lot of processors want to hold your funds for 2 to 3 days because they make money on that. Next day funding is free. Most processors offer this for free next day between 10 a.m. and I would say 1 o'clock the latest. and that will be deposited in your bank account if you settle the transactions by 8 p.m. or maybe even 9 p.m. the night before. So what kind of payments do we accept and do you accept? Well, not only credit cards, but we do ACH transfers. You may want to talk to your bank. Some of them have fees and some of them don't, depending on your bank balances. Zelle, Venmo, and cash. So Zelle and Venmo, I want to talk about. I don't offer Zelle or Venmo, but I want you to understand that those are free from your either bank, or Venmo is an app that you could put on your phone. So Venmo, you want to get your money right away. There's two options with Venmo. There's either 1 to 3 days, you'll get your funds and it's free, or for instant transfer, it's 1.75%. So let me tell you that I personally use Venmo, and I do the 1 to 3 days free, and I always get my funds the next day. So I don't pay that 1.75 instant transfer fee because I can wait the next day for my funds. So I choose the 1 to 3 days free option. Usually it does not take 3 days. And Zelle is a free option through your bank. You just have to make sure with Zelle and Venmo that you have the funds, the cash, in your bank account. And keep in mind that you don't need to provide bank account numbers to anybody for any of those two. Zelle is a feature that's with mostly every bank. I think maybe TD Bank doesn't offer that for businesses, but there are a lot of other banks that offer Zelle, and it's free. You just have to set up the person's email or phone number that's associated with their account and send them or ask them to send you funds. And Zelle is instantaneous, so you'll see that money right away. And just keep in mind, you don't have to provide anybody with bank account information. So there are many methods to accept credit cards online. Mobile wallets, if you have a smartphone, either iPhone or a Samsung or an Android phone, I should say, or iPhone, you can accept this on your phones. And we do links, invoices, send receipts. You can do a lot with your smartphone these days. Payment gateway, like I mentioned earlier. Payment gateway, all you need is a URL, web address. You need a connection to the internet wherever you are. If you're on the beach and you have a connection, you can check your sales. You can buy something. You can sell something with a payment gateway. Use it on your laptop, your smartphone, your computer. And then there's the point of sale system. These are mostly seen at restaurants and larger establishments because it offers a menu of items. If you want to order, a hamburger with all those toppings on it, they'll press all the buttons on their point of sale system. So we also sell point of sale systems. Card not present means that the card physically is not available. And usually when you're shopping at Walmart, Target, Amazon, that's what it is. It's e-commerce, card not present, or meaning if you're ordering something from the local restaurant and you want to have it delivered, or you want to pick it up in a few minutes and you want to run out the door and get it without bringing your wallet or your credit card, you can give them the number over the phone, and that is what's called card not present. Those rates are a little higher, but it's convenient. And then, of course, e-commerce, we all know when we're shopping online, those rates are definitely higher as well. But there's many different ways of accepting credit cards. And as I had mentioned before, the benefits of Zelle and Venmo, it's free and it's instantaneous. There's no transaction fees. It's instant, and they're very user-friendly, and they do have bank-level encryption, so they are safe. They do ask you, just before you're sending out a Zelle payment, are you aware of who this person is? They want to make sure that, because once you press that button to send a Zelle payment or receive a Zelle payment, the money's gone out of your bank account. So they want to make sure that you understand that. And it's very easy to use. So just keep in mind that Zelle and Venmo are free services. I don't offer them. They're with your bank or your app, and they're very convenient. Here's some more information on Venmo and Zelle. As I mentioned, there's two options for the standard transfer or the instant transfer. The standard transfer, like I said, is free. You select your bank account. You set this up previously when you're setting up your Venmo app on your phone, and then you enter the information. Boom! It really takes less than 5 minutes for that transaction. And Zelle, you don't need any account numbers, but you have to make sure that you have the money in your bank to pay someone with Zelle. As I mentioned, M&T doesn't offer Zelle for business accounts, so you want to ask your bank if they offer Zelle. You check send money with Zelle, you choose your recipient, the money, you verify information, and it's done. It takes so little time to do these, and they're free, especially now with the high price of credit card processing and these fees. Now, as I had mentioned before, there's many different rates, interchange rates. There's over 300 rates that are available as of April, this past April, when they did some changes to the Visa MasterCard credit card agreements. If you're a supermarket, you get special rates for being a supermarket. There are large ticket items, there's business card rates, international rates. If you're a utility company, you're selling fuel or electric or gas, you get a special rate for utilities. Travel, warehouse clubs, a nonprofit. I do some business with nonprofits as well, and I do have some restaurants, and I have a supermarket as well. Those rates are much lower than normal, regular, plain vanilla or rewards card rates. So you want to definitely talk to your processor about your business and about how you can obtain the lowest rate. Now, a lot of you most of you have debit cards. They're associated with your checking account. So again, credit card rates, when you're using a credit card or when a customer comes into your establishment, those rates range anywhere from, I would say, maybe 2% to 4%. There's some people, some merchants and business owners that are charging up to 4% for extra fees so that they're not paying the fees. And as a business owner, we understand this could be expensive, so we want to cut back on that. But debit cards, there's two different types of debit cards. You can either sign for the debit, or you can just put in your PIN number, which is usually a 4-digit number. When you put your PIN number in, the debit card acts as a real debit card and takes the money directly out of your checking account. So there's no credit card fees whatsoever. If you sign the card, then that's known also, it could be portrayed as a credit card. So you can use your debit card as a credit card as well. The signature card doesn't require a PIN number. And remember, most of you know, don't ever give your PIN number out to anyone. Processing a debit card with your signature makes that transaction run through the credit card network system, not your checking account. So you just want to be aware of that. Now, I don't know if anybody has any questions at this point. I would definitely, I'm going to take a quick look at the chat, and if you can see, let me just check this slide here. My website is at the bottom of this slide. If you would like this presentation, it's on my website on the About page, and it's a downloadable PDF. So you can take this right on your, you could take my presentation right from my website. And as far as advising customers to pay a minimum, yes, that's not legal. The business owner is not supposed to post any signs or tell you that you have to charge a minimum of $10 or $20 for your purchase. That's illegal. And technically, if you Google Visa, the more words you put into a Google, the better off you are. But you can find out the phone number or the email address to contact Visa or MasterCard and report that merchant. But you probably don't want to report them right away because that's not very nice. But you could, unless they're very nasty about it. But what you can do is tell that business owner or the clerk this is illegal. You're not supposed to request or require a minimum payment on a credit card. They do this because they don't want to pay the fees. But what they don't understand is they're going to pay fees whether it's $10 or whether it's $100. So it really doesn't matter. But it's not legal for them to advise you to pay a minimum or to use a minimum when paying with the credit card. So you want to just make sure of that. Now, credit cards, as you know, why are they good for shopping? This is very important. If your debit card is stolen or it's charged incorrectly, you lose that money. It comes directly out of your checking account. There's no way the bank is going to reimburse you any money for that money that came out of your checking account if you used your debit card. Now, I know I'm telling you to use your debit card because it's cheaper and you're asking customers for their debit card, but it depends on where you are. If you're at the local pizzeria or if you're at a place you've never been before where there's a million people, you definitely don't want to use your debit card, and you don't want to use your debit card online. However, if you're using your credit card, if you pay it off every month, of course, that's the best that we know. But if you use your credit card, if there's a problem with your credit card and there is fraud suspected, or you see a charge on your credit card that you don't recognize, you can call the phone number on the back of the card. If you don't have your card with you, call the bank and let them know that there might be fraud, or go online to your bank and you'll be able to see your credit card on there and you can review all your transactions. You call the credit card company and tell them you think that there is a fraudulent transaction on your card, and what they do is they'll put a temporary refund on your card immediately, cancel that card, send you a new one in the mail, and nobody can use that card anymore. You are not responsible for the funds, for the loss on that card. So that's why you want to use your credit card for shopping, and especially for shopping online. You don't have that benefit with a debit card. And just keep in mind that typically transactions under $25 don't require a signature, but as a business owner, you could ask for a signature. As a business owner, you can ask the customer for anything. You can ask them for extra ID, another credit card, a driver's license, ID, and take pictures of that if you're suspicious of them, or if you have a $200 or $500 purchase for them. You definitely want to make sure that you're comfortable with that person that's giving you their credit card. So these are some of the ideas about the differences between using your debit card or your credit card and accepting payments as a business owner, accepting either a debit or a credit card. So what are some of the requirements that I need in order to sign you up as a credit card processor, or anyone? You need at least, I need at least these 5 pieces of information. It's called KYC, it's Know Your Customer, and all the processors, not just me, require this information from you. An SS4 form, that's what the IRS sends you when you opened your business and you applied for a tax ID number or an EIN. That form is called SS4. So if you don't understand or know what that means, that's that piece of paper that came in the mail. It was always mailed to you. They don't email it to you. And it has your tax ID number on there. And that's important. We need your tax ID number. And of course, we need a valid driver's license. You'd be surprised how many people give me a driver's license that's expired. And whether they mean to or not, I can't take an expired driver's license. So I just need a picture of it. If you want to send a lot of this information to me online, we can work online. And then we need a voided check, because we need to know where to deposit those funds every day. So it needs to list your business name. Otherwise, we need a bank letter. Now, if you don't have voided checks, which not many people have voided checks anymore, go to your bank or call your bank. The banks understand this, and this is a very simple process. They can print a letter in a matter of 1 minute, and it's just lists your name, that you're in good standing, and your tax ID number, and that you are a member of that bank. As long as I have the ABA, which is the routing number, and the DDA, which is your bank account number, on that letter, on bank letterhead, that will suffice for voided check. And again, all of the banks know that they can provide this letter to you for your merchant processor. So this is not new news. It's not something difficult. It's a 2-second conversation over the phone. And then your most recent 2 bank statements to make sure that you are a valid company. You have been, you do have deposits into your account, and you are taking, you are open for business. So we do need some bank statements to see. And then the social security number is just another way of knowing your customer. Do not ever send social security numbers online, through the email, or write them down. Talk to the person over the phone. I take this information over the phone and enter it right into the system. I don't keep any of this information. Again, that's PCI compliant. So you want to make sure that your information is safe. So these are some of the pieces of information that I need to obtain from a business owner if they want to start taking credit cards. And these are some of my local clients on Long Island. I know some of you are visiting and have joined the call from out of state or out of the Long Island area. I do represent clients that are in California. I also represent clients that are in Florida. I do work with a lot of businesses across the 50 states. But these are some of the more popular merchants that I work with right now. So if anybody has any questions, or you like this presentation, or you want me to review your credit card processing statements, I'll do it for free. Email me, send me your statement, attach it to your email, and I will gladly take a look at it, get back to you within the next few days. And if you have any questions, let me know. So this is Simply Payments, and I am happy to be a member of the Small Business Development Center at Stony Brook for many years. And I thank, Willa and Kayla for inviting me on today to introduce you to Simply Payments.
Thank you, Christine. You're always a wealth of information, and we learn something new every time I watch your workshop. Anybody have any questions before we finish? You're getting some nice compliments in the chat, and this workshop, in addition to being on Christine's website, is also on our website. In a few days, when we get it posted, it'll be on our workshop area of our website as well. But thank you very much, Christine, for all your knowledge, and wishing everybody on the call a wonderful holiday season for wherever that brings you. And I hope if you're a business, you're able to process payments. And if not, talk to Christine, because she really is a subject matter expert, as we like to say, in this processing world, and she's been there for a long time. So if there are no other questions, doesn't seem like there are. Christine, thank you very much, and thank you all for attending today.
Hi,
And-
sorry. Hi, Willa. I do have one
Yes.
question. This was super
Sure.
informative. Thank you. I need a SEEP form for participation completed, a form that I was at the session. Who can I send that to?
That would be to our main office, to Kayla. Kayla, I don't think
You
she's on.
can send it either directly to me at
Okay.
kayla.montes@stonybrook.edu, or you can send it to our general email,
Oops.
sbdc@stonybrook.edu. Either or would work.
Okay. I think that was in the Kayla.Montes at, say that again.
Stonybrook.edu.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy
You too.
everything
Hey, thanks,
that's
Willa.
going on. All
Thank
right,
you.
take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.